So we will start now with setting up an agent before we go into discussing the CI/CD and setting up the Jenkins file. So let's here click on set up an agent, and we will call this name this node agent one, and this would be a permanent agent. We'll hit on create, and the name, the description, we can say that the following node is for dev environment. So for the number of executors, it's by default one, and this can be calculated based on the number of CPU or vCPU. So if you have two CPU or two vCPU, you can put the number of executors to two. And does that mean if you have four vCPU or CPU, you would put the number of executors into four? No, this is not the case. You need to make them less than the number of your vCPUs. So if I have four vCPU, the number of executors must be less than four. It can be three, two, it can be somewhere between two to three. So, rule of thumb, use 75% of your vCPU to be used by the executors. The remote root directory. Before we specify that, let's move into an agent that I have set up on a virtual machine. So currently we are in the agent machine, and here we have two files. We have install docker and install jenkins.sh, and the content of those two files are provided in the GitHub repository I have shared earlier. So let's inspect quickly the install Jenkins. Just update the packages and it install Java 11. It creates a Jenkins folder and it installs the Jenkins agent jar from the controller. This is the IP address of the controller and not the agent. Note that the IP address of the agent is the following, and it's different than the controller. The controller has a different IP address. So we will run the install Jenkins script. I have already installed it, so it won't install anything else unless updating it. So here it's telling us cannot write, permission denied. So we need to give it sudo install Jenkins. So now it did write the agent jar file, which resides on the controller machine and not the agent machine. After that, we need to install Docker. We have installed it earlier on our controller machine, and we need to install it also here. So I have also provided this file in our GitHub repository. Just to make sure, I have those two files here. It's the install Docker and install Jenkins agent. Make sure to substitute the Jenkins controller or Jenkins master IP address or domain name if you have it. And here I need to edit it, so it needs to have the sudo privileges. And now it's updated and ready to use. So since we have installed Jenkins and Docker on our machine, we will create a directory which will be the remote directory. I will call it mkdir jenkins-agent, and it's an empty directory, doesn't have anything inside of it. I will take the path and navigate to our Jenkins server, the Jenkins controller basically. So basically I will paste the remote directory we have here. The labels will help us. So some of our tasks in our pipeline, we can label them as development, can label them as Python, can label them as backend application. So I will label this agent as development, and I will label it as backend and front end. And in our pipeline, if any stage matches or any job matches this label, it will be able to run on the current node. And for the usage, use it as much as possible. I will not only make it restrictive. For now, I will make it this way. And for the launch method, we will launch agents via SSH. So here the host is the IP address of the agent machine. Let me get it real quick. Okay, so the IP address will be this way. For the credentials, let me add credentials. Username would be agent1. Password would be my password. So let me repeat it. And there is nothing else. So let me select the credentials of my agent. And for host key verification strategy, we will for now choose no verifying verification strategy just to go quickly. And availability, keep this agent as much as possible. We can schedule a maintenance time and we can take it offline and then take it online. But we will keep it online as much as possible and we would save our configuration. And now, if we look on the left bar, we will find the development agent is launching and it's now offline. So let's see the logs. So here it gave us authentication failed, wrong password. Let me repeat it again and get back to you. I thought I got content to show you and guide you how to change the password if you have set it up wrong. So you go to Manage Jenkins, then Credentials, then System Credentials, Global Credentials, and here we can update it. So let's change the password. Let's save it. And let's go back to our dashboard, development agent and launch agent again. So now we can see the SSH is successful, the authentication is successful to the agent, and agent successfully connected and online. So basically now after we have connected our controller into the agent machine, we now will run some command in the agent machine and we will issue those commands from the control machine into the agent machine. So here we have the development machine and if we go into it, we can find the status, okay, and we can find the labels we specified. We will talk about it later on where can we use them. And here we have the load statistics. This will gather how much is it loaded. We will talk about it later also. And here we have something interesting, which is script console. So this will allow you to run commands in the agent machine, and those commands will be issued from the controller machine. So if we take, for example, this one and we try to run this, we'll get the following output. And this output is from the agent machine. And for example, if we print the current working directory, would find its home, it's my name, then Jenkins agent. This is the directory we have created earlier as a remote directory. So so now we talked about Jenkins, its history, what is Jenkins and why we would use Jenkins, how to set up Jenkins in a reliable way and fast way. So now we will talk about the practices which Jenkins implements. And those practices are common in the DevOps culture and community, which are CI and CD, continuous integration and continuous delivery. Those two practices complement each other. We shouldn't implement one of them without implementing the other. So now we will start with continuous integration, which helps integrate the developer's codes and build the code, compile it, and run some test against that code before going into the continuous delivery or deployment, as we call it. So let's start now with the CI part.
Alright, I've just finished implementing the new feature for our app. Pushing it to the main branch now.
Great, I'm just wrapping up the bug fix in the same section of the code. I'll push my changes in a minute.
Huh, strange. I just got a merge conflict warning.
Let me check. Oh no, it looks like my changes are conflicting with yours. I didn't realize we were working on the same files.
Guys, the app just crashed in production. I think some changes broke something major.